Did you know that increasing optimism is a spiritual thing? It is. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach parenting and good communication, as well as how to build strong family bonds all over the world through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about optimism. In this video, we're going to be talking about optimism, making sure that we understand what optimism is so that we can see the spiritual nature of optimism. Also, in order to fully understand optimism, we have to understand pessimism. So we're going to spend some time there as well. And then I'm going to give you a system that you can put into place to develop more optimism in your life and with your family. Optimistic people are actually rare. That's too bad because they are so powerful. Optimistic people attract other people to them and oftentimes have great influences just because they have an outlook that seems refreshing, hopeful, optimistic. Now, some people do not like optimism. Some people actually get very annoyed or bothered by optimistic people. And I'm not talking about wild, happy people. I'm talking about people who are secure and confident. When a person is truly optimistic, they have a security about them, a feeling of hope where they know that everything actually is going to be okay, no matter what. That's true optimism. Optimism does not look like silliness necessarily or attention seeking. Those are a little bit different than optimism. Those are just outward displays of maybe one feeling that a person has at the time, or they could even be signs of social manipulations. So what is optimism? I love Webster's 1828 dictionary. I'm going to go straight to Webster on what optimism is. In 1828, this is the definition. It's on an app, so sorry if I'm reading it. It says, the opinion or doctrine that everything in nature is ordered for the best, or the order of things in the universe that is adapted to produce the most good. Now, this is interesting. So actually, good comes from the Latin word God. The word good actually means God-like or having God-like qualities, going in a direction toward God is good. So if optimism means that we are adapting something to produce more good, then that means that we are going in a God-like direction, or we're having God-like thoughts and actions as we're moving forward. It also says here that nature is ordered for the best. So an optimist thinks that everything in nature is ordered for the best. Now, nature actually means of God. So there we are again. So we can't actually understand what optimism means without bringing God into the conversation. Now, I know people have different views of God. They have different levels of spirituality, different experiences with spirituality. But when a person chooses to have hope, to see things as good, even if something isn't going right, if they can say, this could be for the best in the long run, just wait and see. That's a truly optimistic thought, isn't it? If someone can do that, they are having faith. They are having hope in some other kind of a good outcome. So what this means is, if a person is not feeling optimistic, does that mean that they are actually in a condition where they are away from God, away from faith, away from hope? Maybe. Let's look at what pessimism means. So pessimism, what does that mean then? Well, let's look. Now, interestingly enough, pessimism was not a word in 1828 that made it into the dictionary, at least. So it's not in Webster's 1828 dictionary. I have to go to a more common or up-to-date definition of pessimism. And so I just Googled it. What is pessimism? And it says a tendency to see the worst aspect of things, to believe that the worst will happen, a lack of hope or confidence in the future. Specifically, a belief that this world is as bad as it could be, or that evil will ultimately prevail over good. That's the modern definition of pessimism. So even in modern times, we seem to be understanding that when a person is pessimistic, they don't have hope, they don't have faith, they don't see the world as a place that can have good in it. They are constantly focusing on evil. They think that the world must be evil or bad. Interesting. So to be an optimistic person is to be a person with a spiritual sense about yourself, to have some belief that there is an order to things, a higher power, and that we can put a little bit of faith in that we can trust that not all things stay bad forever. And if there is a bad thing, that no worries, there could be a good thing over the horizon. It makes me think of the movie The Sound of Music. I love that movie. And in The Sound of Music, I remember that Julie Andrews, the main character, Maria, she says, well, Mother Superior used to always say, where God closes a door, somewhere he opens a window. That is an optimistic thought. It's a thought of faith. Wait, everything isn't always closed to me. There can be good that can come with any situation. I was raised with optimism. I remember having a class with a math teacher that really didn't like me. In fact, it was the worst grade I ever got in a math class, probably just because the teacher did not like me. I remember my father, who was also a school teacher, said to me, Nicholeen, you can learn something from anyone. Even the person that doesn't like you, you can learn something from. So while you're in this class, until we can get you out of it, I want you to just focus on what you can learn that day. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What can I learn from this experience with this person? He was telling me to find the good in a bad situation. He was telling me that I can always learn, and that's a good that I can rely upon. My dad was a very faithful man, a very spiritual man. So that was a truth that was at his core. It came from spiritual knowledge that as we go through life, hard things may come, but somehow they can all turn out for our good if we learn the lessons that we are supposed to learn. That is a spiritual truth. A lot of great literature and great entertainment usually goes back to optimistic or hopeful ideas. A hero in a story has to maintain hope. So we see in The Sound of Music even this beautiful moment. It's probably the song that everybody knows that Maria sings, My Favorite Things, raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens, bright copper kettles, you know the song. Anyway, those are things that make her happy. What are some of the things that make you happy? It's good to know those things. Maybe put them in the comments section below. Maybe some of the things that make you happy can help somebody else have a happier day today too. If we know some of the things that give us hope, then when we have a moment where we're thinking life is so bad, then we can know, oh, go look at that little kitten and the whiskers on the kittens and how they tickle. Or let's eat schnitzel with noodles. By the way, I had schnitzel from Switzerland. So good. So good. I highly recommend it. I need to go back just for that. It really is a happy thing. So what makes you happy? Let me know. Webster mentioned in his definition about optimism that you need to have a system for optimism. So just like we were talking about, make a list of things that make you optimistic or things that make you grateful and bring you happiness. That's one little piece of a system that you can have for optimism. How do you bring optimism into your environment when you're with other people, maybe in a family setting, maybe when you have someone around you who struggles with pessimism? There are certain things that can create a more pessimistic outlook for someone. Sometimes a person can experience a loss or go through a tragedy or a hard circumstance, and they might be feeling like, I can't ever have my life back the same as it was. And so that could make their outlook seem like there is no hope for them. But there are ways that you can help those people. Now, when a person is saying, I can't have my life back, everything is over, that's actually a type of a depression, isn't it? So when someone experiences depression, whether it's situational depression or long-term, and clinical diagnosed depression, their chances of looking at things in a pessimistic light actually goes way, way up. Many times people who just have a depressed feeling about them all the time do see life as something that is happening to them in a negative way. Everything seems to be negative. They have to work even harder to find the positive around them, but it is possible. I actually have someone that I love dearly who you would never know that this person had depression, because they are one of the most optimistic, hopeful people that you might meet. In fact, they're constantly handing out hopeful, helpful advice, as well as caring about someone at the same time. And this is because they have created a habit of optimism. They wanted it. They adopted it, and it changed their very nature, even though they still deal with depression. I want to share with you 5 steps that you can use to bring more optimism into your life and into your family culture, or maybe even your work environment. Number 1, start with the big picture of life. Start with a vision. If you want things to improve in your relationships, if you want to feel like there is hope moving forward with your relationships, that things could get better, how about you start by creating a picture of what you are hoping to accomplish in those relationships? This will help you have a direction that you're headed. Now, I know somebody who struggles with pessimism might think to themselves right now, yeah, but what if I set this picture and then we don't get there? Well, let's understand the point of that big picture. The big picture isn't to identify where you must land in order to be happy. That is not the point. The point of a vision or a big picture is to point you towards something that you want in a hopeful way. So even if you hit that time mark 20 years from now when you hoped to have that big picture realized, even if you haven't realized it yet by that time, you're going to still keep that picture in mind to move you forward to stay being that person you became or to continue to become better. It's just about planning yourself to move forward towards something so that you don't get stuck not moving at all. Number 2, discern. You need to know what is good and bad and be able to identify each of those things. If you can discern what's good and bad, true and false, right and wrong, then you can decide which direction to go that would be more optimistic. If we know optimism has a spiritual component to it, then we can bring in basic morals like what's good and bad, and we can say, wait a minute, I know morally that's good. So I need to be putting my thoughts and my words and my actions in that direction instead of falling into the trap of going into this other direction. So try to put a moral lens on some of your decisions. That will help you know you're going in an optimistic direction. We want to make plans for ourselves. So number 3 is to make a plan and then give yourself the tools that you need to follow through with this plan. So let's say I have a plan to have this vision, okay, for the future, becoming this type of person or having a certain family with unity and happiness, kindness and love. So that's my plan. Now, how am I going to get there? I need to keep course correcting myself. That's actually what it means to self-govern. This is the Teaching Self-Government YouTube channel after all, right? When a person self-governs, they understand the cause and effect of any situation and possess knowledge of their own behaviors so that they can control them. That means they have to give themselves no answers, give themselves instructions, correct themselves sometimes, and accept consequences. They have to disagree with other people in appropriate ways. Those 4 skills that I just talked about, even though I usually am teaching parents how to teach them for children, are actually for everyone. They are adult skills and they are skills that lead toward optimism. So if you have a plan to become a certain type of a parent and you know that you have a tendency to maybe get depressed, overwhelmed, stressed, something like that that might get you in a pessimistic light, then what you need to do is you need to say to yourself, okay, if ever I think a thought that feels like it's a bad thought, I'm going to declare, that's a bad thought. I'm giving myself a no answer. Instead, I choose to think this. You may have to formulate some of your good thoughts ahead of time and have them at the ready so that when you say no to one thought, you can bring in another good optimistic thought instead. Just because you think a pessimistic thought doesn't mean it's not true. It could be true. But the thing is, there could be an optimistic thought that's true too. Let's not limit ourselves by just thinking about the negative. So basically, step 3 is give yourself a no answer and give yourself an instruction. You are using those skills of the 4 basic skills to help yourself forward in this pathway to optimism. Step number 4 is give yourself evidence. You need evidence that things are good. One of the easiest ways to see evidence that things are good is to go be with the people. Now I know somebody who struggles with depression and always thinks others are thinking bad about them has a hard time going to be with people and thinking good things. But people, connecting with people face to face especially, or maybe even having a hug with someone, maybe there's someone you just give them a hug every single day. You just make it part of your habit to remind you that you are loved, that somebody cares about you. That is an optimistic thought that can move you forward for the whole rest of that day. Go be with the people. Talk to people, let them know that you want to talk with them so that you can see how good life is, so that you can recognize how much they value you, and so you can share with them how much you value them too. Be deliberate in your communications. You would be surprised how many people would be very open to knowing exactly why you want to have daily contact with them. Number 5, if you receive information, whether from a look, or words, or a thought in your own head as you are trying to assess a situation that seems like it's pointing you in a pessimistic direction, it's okay to reject it. Just reject it. Tell yourself, nope, I don't need to look at it that way. So give yourself permission to reject things that are non-productive or unhealthy, or that steer you away from having a hopeful outlook. Just because you're an optimist doesn't mean that you will have felicity and happiness every second of the day. No, being an optimistic person means that you have hope, that even when hard things come, you're willing to look for a way around, a way through, a way over. You are willing to problem solve instead of give up. That's what it means to be a true optimist. And everyone can learn that, even if they have habits of pessimism, but they might need skills to do it. So if you've enjoyed this video, I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy my next video, which is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. That will talk about lots of the skills and principles of self-government that you need in order to become an optimist and to teach your children optimism too. Click on the link to that video. I'll see you there.